Hello, everybody. It is July 12th, 2025, and if you can see by the background, I'm doing a review of the Superman 2025 movie that just came out. Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the movie. I'm going to talk about things that happened in the movie, whatnot. So if you have not seen this movie yet, you are probably going to want to um, stop watching. Also, gonna slaughter some names. I'm terrible with names, so I apologize to these actors and actresses that'll never watch this if I slaughter some names. So I'm gonna go into this as far as what I thought about it, key points, things like that. Right off the bat, I'm gonna talk about something that's just been going around and give my 2 cents on it. I don't get political on this channel. I don't want to get political on this channel. This channel is just for fun. But, there's the whole, is this Superman movie woke and all this type of stuff, and I'm looking at other people's reviews and, there's kind of both ends of the spectrum and people are kind of really going off the deep end. Are there elements of wokeness to this film? Yes, there are. I would say there are sprinkles of it. I would say there's probably about 10% of the film has some wokeness in it. This is not something that's a big surprise. This is Hollywood today. We can't just make a Wrath of Khan movie anymore. If Empire Strikes Back came out today, the message that you would leave with is that your Darth Vader's a bad father that abandoned his children. We can't just have a fun movie anymore. We always have to have some kind of message. Yes, James Gunn tries to throw some things in there. You have a reporter that is very much like I've heard Tucker Carlson. I thought more of like a Sean Hannity type thing, but you definitely have a reporter who's not a likable guy that would definitely stream on a whole Fox that he's not on Fox News in the movie, but that's probably where they got the basis from. Somebody who they would say is on Fox News. And then you do have a whole, kind of sub story of Superman being an immigrant and whatnot. The movie doesn't go crazy with these things, but yes, there is the dash of that. So it's not something I'm going to avoid because it is all over the place. In my opinion, it's, there's a bit of wokeness to movies. I don't care about your political belief. I don't care what you think. Whether you're right, left, whatever. But when I go to see a movie, when I watch a TV show, when I listen to music, I just want to enjoy myself. I don't listen to Rage Against the Machine, A, because I don't think they're a good band, but B, because I'm not really all that political. Even bands that I love, when they start getting crazy political, I'm like, oh, come on. And again, there's bands I love that are on both ends, man. They're right Republicans, left Democrats, or if in Europe that's just right or left. And if it gets too political, I don't care who it is. I don't care. Sometimes it gets a bit ridiculous. Sometimes it fits well, especially, Black Sabbath, War Pigs, things like that. That's a different story. That's, they were talking about the Vietnam War. But, I like to be entertained and whatnot. If you're wondering, and then I'm just going to end with this. The CW got very, very woke towards the end with Supergirl. Shows that I loved. Supergirl and The Flash, especially. I even stuck with Legends of Tomorrow. That one I don't even think was getting super woke, but people stopped watching Legends of Tomorrow just because they didn't like the show. I stuck with that one. But if you're worried if this is going to be like a CW type thing, it's not even close. Not even close. It has its elements, but and that's all I'm really going to say about the whole wokeness. Yes, are there sprinkles of it? Yes, but that is not what you should take away from this movie. That aside, it is a really good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that the actors, David Corenswet, I'm screwing your name up, man. If you ever watch this, I apologize. And Rachel Brosnahan, I'm terrible with names, were phenomenal. And Rachel, I really got to give it to you because you were what I was looking forward to the most in this movie, because I don't think we have had a good Lois Lane since, oh my God. Guys, see what happens when you get old? Do you see what happens when I'm sitting here saying, wanting to say Carrie? I cannot believe I have to Google this. I cannot. It really sucks, For all you youngins, Margot Kidder, seriously, for all you youngins, it sucks to get old. You don't remember anything anymore. But I don't think we have had a good Lois Lane since Margot Kidder. Now, that being said, I never saw the Dean Cain Superman. I never saw the Superboy shows. I did watch Lois and Clark. I thought the actress, I don't know her name. I did not like her Lois Lane. I thought she was just annoying, irritating. She was constantly complaining and whining and, just nagging. She just really got under your skin. I thought in that show that just went off the air, Lois and Superman, or Superman and Lois, whatever it was on the CW, the actor who played Superman was great. He was by far my favorite since Christopher Reeve. That name I'll remember. But we have not had this chair. One day, you guys, you're going to get your laugh. I promise you. I'm going to fall back. And you guys all, please, laugh your butts off. We have not had a good Lois Lane since Margot Kidder. And Rachel, you did it. You were the one that I was really looking forward to, because my wife watched The Marvelous Miss Maisel, and I started watching it because you were unbelievable. I'm talking to her like she's going to watch this. Maybe she will. Who knows? She's like, hey, this fat guy, I want to see what he has to say about it. But Rachel was phenomenal in The Marvelous Miss Maisel, and I knew she had what it takes to be Lois Lane. I think it was whoever it was that was in the Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel, Lois Lane, whatever. It's not Amy Adams. It's the other one that looks like Amy Adams. And I'm not even going to Google that her name. She was terrible. She was so bad. It wasn't even funny. And again, I can't. The other Lois Lanes, like in the Dean Cain one, Terry Hatcher. I never saw the show, so I can't rate. I can't say. But from what I've seen, Margot Kidder, nothing really matches up to Margot Kidder, and then Rachel. I did used to watch Smallville. The actress that played Lois in Smallville, she was pretty darn good. If I had to say before this movie came out, I would put her as the best Lois Lane we've had since Margot Kidder. Margot Kidder is Lois Lane. I mean, it's my age thing too, but nobody else will ever be Lois Lane, as nobody else will ever be Superman but Christopher Reeve. But she did a phenomenal job. David did an unbelievable job as Superman. He was so good. This cast was outstanding. Absolutely, positively outstanding. Nicholas Hoult, who played Lex Luthor, was great, and the super team, super gang, that's what they were called, super gang. Eddie Gathegi, he was phenomenal as Mr. Terrific. Anthony Kerrigan as Metamorpho was very good. Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern was hilarious, and Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl was funny and great too. This cast all around, there was nobody in this cast that I said, oh, they're terrible. Perry White, guy who played Perry White, was great. Jimmy Olsen was great. Miss Tessmacher was back. That was surprising. Kind of a little change on her. In the Richard Donner films, Miss Tessmacher, she's Well, I mean, I guess it's the same because she plays stupid, but she's really smart. Same thing in this one. But in this movie, it really is kind of the stupid is really kind of over the top. And it's meant to be. But no, everybody did a great job. The people who played Clark's parents were phenomenal. They put a really more of a down home twist on the Kents. Really farm people, and I lived in a farm town for many years. Or actually worked in a farm town, so they got the good people, the sense of family, the sense of love and community that is in a small rural town. Very very good all along the lines. Crypto, which when I saw, I think many of us did when we saw the trailer, and it had crypto, I thought the movie's going to be absolutely stupid. They're putting the dumb dog in this movie. Are you kidding me? Are you? I really? It's done. Well, who's going to reboot the DC universe after this flops? Crypto was hilarious. He did it right with that dog. Now in at the end of the movie, Supergirl shows up and we find out that Crypto is actually her dog, and she comes in hammered out of her mind. She likes to go to different worlds and party and whatnot, which I think is going to be an awesome setup for a very new twist on Supergirl. But I think you have to be very careful with letting the joke go too far. Let's kind of the same thing we saw between Superman 2 and Superman 3 with Richard Lester had the funny scene where the villains are using their super breath to blow everybody away and said, "Oh, that part was funny. Let's turn Superman 3 into a comedy." Got to be very careful because there were a lot of good funny moments, and Crypto had a lot of great funny moments. But you have to make sure that you don't go above and beyond. Let's see. And then you have you have the Kryptonian parents, Bradley Cooper, and who else? I know Bradley Cooper and Angela. Sorry, Sarah Fan. Sorry again, I'm slaughtering your name. They did. I mean, it was basically cameos, but they did. They did a good job. What I didn't like is they turned the Jor-El, who's always been hopeful, had always been the beacon of this good that Superman is. They turned Jor-El and Lara into conquerors. Send your kid off to conquer Earth. I hated that aspect of this film. Absolutely hated that aspect of this film. I hope that they fix it in the second one because there's a recording, and in the recording, Superman only hears the first half, which makes it sound like the Jor-El we know, Jor-El and Laura that we know, and then Lex fixes the second half, and it basically says, go to Earth and take it over and take as many women as you want and start a super race, and anybody who gets in your way, kill. And it's not. That's not our Jor-El and Laura. I hope they fix that because that was that was really the part of it that I could not stand. I did not like that at all. Again, I'm kind of looking at Wikipedia as I'm doing this. Yeah, Millie Alcock from the Game of Thrones spinoff. Again, she was great as Supergirl. I think she's going to do a very good job in the Supergirl movie. Maria Gabriela de Faria as the engineer was really good too. So yeah, there were a lot of good aspects. The dynamic between Lois and Clark was phenomenal. I liked that. We don't get an origin story again. Everybody knows where Superman came from. Everybody knows that Lois and your Superman and Lois are in love and whatnot, and that's where this movie takes off from. Like it a lot. I like that Lois doesn't know if she can be in a relationship, because that is Lois. Lois is her first priority is always to the paper, to the Daily Planet. So I like that aspect. They did a really, really good job with the dynamic between Superman and Lois, and the actors playing them. They had a chemistry. They had a dynamic that worked really, 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 really well. The story is another thing that I saw in the previews was looks like he's fighting Godzilla at one point, and I thought, oh my god, what are they doing? That's a very minor part, and it's funny and it works for the movie. So that I was very happy to hear that was not a big part of it. My other big fear was the Justice Gang, where I thought, oh, they're jamming too many people into this movie, and it works out very well because it's kind of like the Justice Gang kind of does their thing and only interacts with Superman, on an as needed basis. So a couple of videos that I watched, a couple of reaction videos or review videos, I watched people say that they are more cameos. I don't think they're cameos. I mean, they're not front and center roles, but they play decent roles in the movie, especially Mr. Terrific, who again was outstanding. He was so good in this movie. They did a very good job of keeping those two worlds, as George Costanza would say, worlds were not colliding. They're right here. They're not touching, and it works out perfectly. I like the dynamic between Superman, and he has the robots in the Fortress of Solitude, and that was really kind of heartwarming because it kind of tells you that Superman's not alone. Superman is, there's people beyond the Kents that are looking over him, looking after him. So that's good. There's this part of the film is. And we saw this with Avengers. This is where it has really brought me back to the Avengers, where it's Superman overstepping his bounds, getting involved in world affairs. And we kind of saw this in Superman 4. And that's not touched on in that movie. But, at the end of Superman 4, he says, I can't solve your problems for you. You have to want to get rid of nuclear weapons on your own. And then this movie touches on, does Superman have the authority to just go and stop a war, stop an invasion, one country invading another? And I think that was kind of an allegory for Russia and the Ukraine as well. But, that's definitely something that would happen in a real world. It would definitely, if Superman appeared, and went into the Ukraine and threw Russia out, literally threw Russia out. Yeah, I think everyone would be happy that war is over and that Russia is gone from the Ukraine. But then the question is, well, wait a minute, where's it going to end? Where's is Superman going to be on? Stop any kind of conflict, and whose side is he going to be on? So these were logical questions. They were interesting, good questions that would definitely come up. The story flows very, very well. There really is no downtime. Being diabetic, I always have to go to the bathroom at least 2 times during a movie, and first time seeing a movie, you try to think, okay, this is kind of maybe the lull of the film, and there really wasn't. 2 times I had to go to the bathroom. I had to come back. I came back. I had to have my wife and kids, fill me in on what was going on, because the story just does continue to flow, and it flows very, very well. Overall, really good movie. This is definitely the best movie since Superman 2. If I had to rank this, I'm not going to go through all the movies, but this is in the top 3. I say Superman 2 is the best Superman movie of all time. The first Superman, 78, is the best. Second best. This would be my third favorite. I think this one was thoroughly enjoyable. Again, the acting was phenomenal, and it was a good story. I do hope that we do start to see in future films, we all want to see a Justice League movie that works. And now that it's not the Zack Snyder brooding teenager uh, situation, I think that we could get a really, really good Justice League movie down the line, probably in the next 5 or so years. I don't know the situation with Batman because you also have the Batman Super Detective movies that are out with the guy from Twilight, and so I don't know how that's going to work. There is supposed to be a Green Lantern Corps movie or show, I believe, coming out. So, eventually, and we're going to have, we're going to have more movies, more TV shows. Lobo is on the schedule, I believe, still to be slated. These things change so much, but I think this was a good kickoff to the new DC universe. Keep it light, not too light. Have a good story, great actors. This was what we needed. So I would say absolutely go see this movie. You will not be disappointed. I don't think I did, and I always will. You don't have to stay for the two mid. There's a mid credit scene. There's a end credit scene. They're not launching off anything important. They just aren't. If you're somebody who has to see them, stay for them. If you don't really care, you're gonna miss nothing. I feel before I say goodbye, I want to make sure I catch everything else. Yeah, no, this was it. This is a really, really good movie. I hope that they continue to do well. Again, it's not super woke. I hope James Gunn, if you whatever you wanted to say politically, you said in this movie, and let's just go ahead and make some fun movies again. Let's just go ahead and leave the politics to CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and all that, and let's let people have fun for 2 hours. All right. Well, I would love to hear what you guys think. Leave your comments and do the like, subscribe, and all that type of stuff. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon.